Hello everyone, welcome back to the kitchen table. Today on the kitchen table we're going to be reviewing a bag. No, we're not really. We're going to be reviewing what's inside the bag, which is actually a fairly high-end, well, calling it a neck strap is probably doing it not a lot of justice, but it's a high-end and fairly high price sort of harness for taking a bit of the weight off your transmitter when you're flying. So we're going to have a look at that and put it through its paces. As I said, it's not a cheap item. So before we do that though, it's the kitchen table, and whenever we're discussing drones and reviewing stuff and having a look, we always have a beverage. It's another early morning session today, I'm afraid, so I'm on the coffee. For those of you who've expressed concern about my caffeine habit, don't worry, I'm sure there'll be some more alcohol soon. But in the meantime, just some more home roasted Monsoon Malabar. I'm really enjoying my Indian coffees at the moment, so cheers. Ah, yes. So, neck straps. Hopefully you will use them. If you don't, you should, because they just are really helpful. Especially with now the transmitters that are using tablets, FPV screens, even smartphones. You know, you're getting a fair amount of weight, and as they're the P3 with the built-in light bridge stuff, these things are getting heftier and heftier, and that's a lot of weight to be carrying in your hands. There's also the risk of dropping it and breaking this or this. And there's also the whole kind of aspect of being able to do other things and not have to put this down on the floor and, you know, just take a bit of the weight off. Now, I and most people use something along these lines, a standard lanyard that you can get for a handful of pounds, a handful of dollars, or if they're branded, perhaps even free. This one, for example, has just a little bit of spring in it, which is quite nice, and it clips into the clip there, and it kind of does the job. There's a couple of problems I find with standard neck lanyards. This one's quite thin. I have got a thicker one, more like a camera strap, which kind of spreads the weight around your neck. A couple of things that are problematic with them that I find. One, it's around your neck. So I find that after an extended sort of period of time carting this around, it does kind of put some pressure on the back of the neck. And two, if I just demonstrate, because of the kind of way these are built and where you'll see if I try and lift it up, everything tends to tip down like that, which means if you want to let go of it to do a hand catch, or to go and more likely perhaps go down and do a compass cal or fiddle around in your flight case, you got this thing flapping down around your neck. I'm always slightly concerned about the security of these sort of things. You knock the antennas. It's kind of not ideal. You end up having to keep one hand on it anyway, which to me sort of defeats the object. The guys at Bestham USA, their aerial products division, because they seem to be developing one now, have sent something through. It comes in this bag. Now, you know, if something comes in its own bag, a bit like the props on the Phantom 3 come in their own little drawstring bag. You know, if it's in a drawstring bag, it's going to be expensive. But what they have come up with is something that they're calling the zero gravity harness, which sounds quite impressive. Now, Bestham USA, I had a bit of a look into them because they've sort of sent a few products over the years for me to have a look at. And they started out, and they still do, making accessories for motorcycles, high quality ones for high quality bikes. And they kind of manufacturing ethos has come across to their products for drones, because everything that they've sent is pretty high quality. Now, as ever though, like everything on the kitchen table, there are no strings attached. If people send me stuff, they don't have any say in what I get to say about it. They don't get to see the videos in advance. It's my opinion. And they were happy to do that, and they've just sent it through. In fact, it just arrived without any kind of note in it or anything else, and I'm going to have a look at it. Now, basically what makes it different is a couple of things. I will show you it in use in a moment. Now, let me show you how this works. Kind of like, I think we would call them braces, but I think suspenders you'd call them in the States. So you get two straps that go over the shoulders. It doesn't go around the back of your neck. It sits down below the shoulder line. Then you've got a center point here that goes to an elasticated strap that goes round your, not really around your waist, it's more around your stomach. But like the principle is the same as with a backpack. You know, most of the weight should be carried around the waist strap, and it takes the weight off the shoulders. Then what you have is a little shape. This is a metal, it's rigid. I mean, you can bend it, and I have done slightly. You can bend it, but it will hold quite rigid. It'll take a lot of weight. This goes around the front. The belt, the sort of waist loops clip in here, and you can adjust. And then you also have, coming down from the shoulders, you have, and they've put a fairly high quality sort of quick release carabiner type clip on it, which goes in. So the principle is the transmitter rests in here. Cunningly, that bar on the back means that it will slide in nicely there. This then can clip in, and you have something that will kind of float around in front of you for you to use. We'll cut now to just a bit of, you can see me wearing it. I'm doing a lovely little show of modeling it there. And it fits quite well. I'm not a big guy, as you can see, and there is a bit of adjustment in the waist straps, but if you're pretty heftily built, you might find that you run out of adjustment on the elastic straps. They are elastic, but you don't want it too uncomfortable, I would have thought. Some of the things I like about this, there is some padding to the back and the shoulder straps, and there is some material there that's designed to help kind of, it should reduce any sweatiness. It should, promote a bit of airflow and wicking away, so that's pretty comfortable. The straps themselves are, they're not super thick padded, but I found it very comfortable. And crucially for me, I found it comfortable to wear over long periods of time. The other thing, and I've had a really close look, because it's the sort of thing that, you want to be certain isn't going to give way. The stitching and the finishing is really excellent on this. Really, really high quality. There's no cheap shoddy stuff that I can find. I couldn't find any loose threads. It's a nice silver and black kind of finish. The buckles and adjusters they're using and the webbing is all quality and all finished nicely. A good solid, I have tried to bend it and I can't, a good solid clip. And this metal plate is kind of protected with a kind of a vinyl, sewn vinyl. It's just basically into a pocket there. But again, it's been colour matched to the back of the strap. So little touches like that, and the fact that as well, these flaps here mean that the buckles aren't resting right against you if you're wearing a thin t-shirt or something like that. The design is really nice. The build is really nice. The price, well, if you're in Europe at the moment, I can't say this is value for money really, because it's $59.95. Let's call it $60 in the States with free shipping. To get it into Europe or outside the US, really, it's another $15. That means that in UK terms, that this is nearly £50, therefore £50 sterling worth of neck wear. Now that's no, I can't justify that in any way, shape or form really. Much as it's good, unless you have a particular back problem or something like that, then this is great. What best them need is a European dealer, and we need to be able to buy it at a similar price to the US guys. $60 is still not nothing, not a small amount of money either. You're going to have to look at the what you perceive to be the value of that. Certainly, I don't think you'll be disappointed with the quality of the item that you get. I really quite like the fact that when it's in situ, if you look at this shot here, and you can see that what I'm doing is, because of the way it lies for me, and you have to adjust a little bit, adjust the elastic around the waist and adjust the straps on the shoulders. But I've got to the point where I can actually rest the kind of heel of my hand is actually putting some weight down on the transmitter, which means my entire sort of fingers are completely free to make really nice, delicate movements on the controls. You still get full access. If you've got a Phantom 3 or Inspire with this controller, you still get access to the buttons at the back. They're not restricted by the plate. They've kind of obviously thought of that with, I think they've thought of this with the Phantom line in mind, without getting access to the things on the rear. And it does mean that it's a very nice feeling. Now, one thing I would say is that if you are, I think if you're a kind of finger and thumb kind of pilot, which I tend to be, and therefore I end up kind of supporting with a normal neck strap, I do end up supporting the weight of things with my kind of hands here and doing this. To be able to actually move to this more relaxed position means that I do get it's much nicer. If you're a thumbs on the top of the sticks kind of person, then you're kind of more distributing the weight, and you might find that you don't get quite so much benefit. As I say, that kind of top down for me gives you a very fine amount of control, and it means but the biggest plus for me is if I'm doing a hand catch and I let go, everything just holds straight. You know, here I am modeling one. If you're doing a hand catch, it just stays where it is. If you can put your hands in your pockets, you can talk to somebody, you can move around, and it will not tip forward. And I feel personally that this kind of design is much more, you feel much more safe about having your tablet and stuff there. Now you can buy as well, alternatively, you can buy actual trays. There you provide your own neck straps, some of them come with them, and there's a tray design, a large sort of tray to get the same effect. I haven't tested any of those, but they would operate on a similar principle. I quite like the fact that this thing, you know, if you squish it all up back into the bag, you can fit that, you can probably find a cubby hole to fit that in a flight case, or at least it'll slip into a bag. Some of the bigger trays, it's, you know, if you're not going to fly out of the back of your car with all your stuff and you want to go down, you know, somewhere further afield, then lightness can be good for carrying stuff. That might be an option. I'll put links in the description to where you can get it from, say, Bestham USA. It's, like I said, unfortunately, yeah, no, I just can't justify the price because of the extra shipping. I don't think I could justify anybody could afford that in Europe, unless you have a particular issue. If you do have back and neck issues and you're looking for something very supportive, this kind of weight distribution I think works really well because of that down the back strap. It might be worth it in your case. In the States, $59.95 shipped, that's got to be a value judgment for you, but it certainly does everything that it advertises that it does, and I found it very comfortable, particularly back-to-back flights. I feel that, you know, you could keep this on for an extended period of times, and I didn't get, you know, because of the distribution, you get no pain in the neck stuff. So for function, it gets a thumbs up from me. For price, it gets a but, you know, you do get a drawstring bag. So maybe that'll swing it for you. But if you're interested, Bestham USA, links in the description. Thanks very much indeed for watching. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you again soon back on the kitchen table. Until then, cheers.